Hello, I'm Sayojita. Today I have made Seekh Kebabs for you in my kitchen on a cast iron tawa. The taste and texture are pretty close to the original, which is made in a tandoor. Spicy and smoky, soft and moist. Right now I'm sitting here waiting for my guests to arrive. I've already made the seekh and the kulchas that go with it, and I've also cleaned my kitchen. That's the best thing about Seekh Kebab. You can make them a little bit ahead of time and then just warm them up before serving, or you can keep everything ready and make them hot when your guests arrive. It only takes 10 minutes on the stove. I've used chicken mince, but you can use any meat, mutton, beef or turkey. The detailed ingredient list is in the description box. I'll join you in the kitchen shortly.
The first thing we need to do is to prep the minced meat and marinate it. Use lean meat if possible. I'm going to add some fat to it later. Wash it if you need to do so, drain and remove as much water from it as possible. I've put the mince in a piece of muslin and squeezed out all the water. The other seasonings and spices must be ground into a dry paste. The red Kashmiri chilies, ginger, garlic, green chilies, coriander and mint leaves. Process in a mixie without adding any water. If your mixie needs some liquid to process, then use the wet ingredients which I'm going to add later, lemon juice, ghee and cream. Let these flakes of green and red remain. They add visual interest to the finished product. Set aside the masala in a bowl or tawa. You can use the same mixie to mince the meat. You can also use a food processor for this. Traditionally, chunks of meat are pounded using a mortar and pestle. This is how dry it gets. The dryness of the meat is the key to the success of your kebabs. Too much water will cause them to disintegrate. This step helps to tenderize the meat. Remove any tendons and cartilage that might be there in your minced meat. I get chicken legs minced by the butcher, and you often leave some tendons in. Add the meat to the masala paste. Then we can add the remaining ingredients, ghee, fresh cream, lemon juice, garam masala. If you love cardamom, you can add additional cardamom powder or grind a couple of pods with the chilies and garlic earlier, and salt. Mix, almost knead everything together. I find that hands work best. If you like, you can put it back into the mixie and pulse a couple of times. Set aside for at least 30 minutes. If your marinated mince is dry like mine, that should be plenty of time. But if it is moist and sticky from all the processing, refrigerate it for 1 to 2 hours. That will make it more manageable. You can do this step hours or even a day ahead of time and refrigerate the meat. I'm going to serve my kebabs with mini kulchas. I've set the dough for proofing already. While we are waiting, I'm going to show you the equipment I'm going to use. This is a well-seasoned cast iron pan, and it has a small lip. So when you place the meat-laden skewers, they will be suspended and the meat will touch the surface. If you do not have a pan like this, you can use a non-stick pan like this one. The problem is that when you suspend the skewers, the meat will not touch the surface. In that case, you can use bamboo skewers which can be cut to size. A lid to cover the pan is recommended but not essential. As for the skewers, I am using these flat ones. They hold the meat well. You can also use these thinner skewers, but they could have a hard time holding on to the meat. If that happens, you can tie 2 of these together, either the metal or the bamboo skewers, with a wet string. Besides this, we are going to need a basting brush, or you can just use a spoon. And that's all the special equipment we will need. Additionally, you may need a bowl of water. You'll see why later. The meat has finished its marination process. Now we will skewer it. Take a ball of the marinated mince, about 3 inches in diameter. This size works well for my skewers, which are around 12 inches long. Coax the meat evenly along the length of the skewer like so. If the meat is sticking to your hands, wet your palms and start over. I have 6 skewers. At this point, you can set aside the skewers until just before serving. If the meat is still cold, you must wait until it comes close to room temperature. I'm going to make my kulchas first and then grill the kebabs just before serving. The dough has risen. Since I'm making these kulchas ahead of time, I'm using my vegan dough recipe with yeast. These kulchas keep better. I'm going to link both the dough recipes in the description box. This much dough yields 16 mini kulchas. The beauty of mini kulchas is that they are small, so we do not need to roll them. I'm just going to pat them down and roast them on a hot cast iron tawa. I will have nice, soft, fluffy kulchas. To make 16, I'll have to do this in 2 batches. And I'm going to use the same tawa to grill the kebabs later. Apply some butter or ghee to the kulchas and store them in a hot box. They'll stay warm for an hour or so. Plenty of time to get ready for your guests before making the kebabs. Clean all remnants of kulchas from the tawa and allow it to get nice and hot. Liberally apply ghee to the surface. And then place the skewers onto the tawa. Let the bottom surface of the meat cook and brown slightly. Baste the top with ghee. After about a minute or so, fry one of the skewers gently to check if it has loosened from the pan and can be flipped over. If it is stuck, gently pry it off the pan with a spatula or add a little ghee and wait. It may just need to cook a little more. Flip over all the skewers and apply ghee on this side. Turn the skewers to ensure that the meat is browned all over. The juices have been sealed in now. At this point, you can cover the pan and allow the meat to cook all the way through. The whole process should take only about 10 minutes. Last of all, increase the heat and slightly char the kebabs. By the way, you can also roast Seekh Kebabs on a barbecue grill. In fact, they will be much closer to Tandoori kebabs than the ones on the stove. Basically, you follow the same procedure. Apply the ghee on the grill and then on the skewers before you place them on. That's the only difference. And turn off the stove. I'm going to show you the texture of one of the kebabs. You can still hear the others sizzling on the tawa. I have turned off the heat. If it is cooked well, the kebab should just slide off the skewer. And you can see it's not chewy but soft inside. Yummy. And the outside is moist and glistening too. I've served my Seekh Kebabs with green coriander and mint chutney, sliced onions, lemon wedges, and the mini kulchas, of course.
I hope you enjoyed making Seekh Kebab with me. I think you'll like this playlist on non-vegetarian snacks. Do check it out next. I'll be back with another dish next week. Thank you for watching.